like to invite Professor Mrs. Chinedu Peace Babalola, Vice Chancellor of Chrisland University.
Thank you very much. I extend courtesies to all the excellencies and special guests present. I am a pharmacist, and I'm happy to be here. When I took over as the Vice Chancellor of Chrisland University, I met drug problems as usual, and it was difficult to handle, and we kept wondering how to handle it. We only had rumors and some evidences. But when it began to lead to bullying, we had to take action. Universities have rules and regulations about use of drugs that are, of course, punitive. But we're lucky this week we're having our orientation for all students, and we put in there the menace of drug abuse. And we're fortunate to listen to Dr. Adedeji, who runs a rehabilitation center called Kadam. And he came with a young man who had gone through rehabilitation and was free from drugs. And we're very excited. And we do know that there is hope for our young ones if we have such rehabilitation centers that work. For this gathering, I want us to adopt what words we should use. Should we use drugs, substance, or medicines, so that we do not confuse the young ones? I think that's one policy we need to look into, whether we should use drugs. In WHO, for substances or chemicals we use to treat diseases, they are no longer called drugs, but medicines. So for drug use as well, some are drugs, some are substances. So it may be good we use a common word, so that when we use drugs, people are not confused. Be that as it may, drugs, substances, medicines, they change who we are. When they get into the body, they react and they change something. They can change behavior, they can cure diseases, but definitely there are external chemicals that change who we are. In school, we were taught that drugs are poisons. And I had a classmate who finally died using drugs. Again, when people use drugs with alcohol, alcohol makes it to pass faster into the bloodstream. So for parents, for adults here, let's know that when they mix it with alcohol, it gains entrance through the red blood cells faster. Again, we are all different. One man's meat is another man's poison. Some use the drugs, they get by. Some use it, they die instantly. And that is what we call genetic differences. And our youths should recognize that some of these drugs, when you use codeine, it gets metabolized to morphine, which is dangerous. If you're an ultra metabolizer, it can lead to coma. Again, drugs in our universities will lead to crime, cultism, and bullying. So how do we tamper with our laws in the university to make sure we don't also send our youths away and we rehabilitate them? We do not have those facilities in the universities, and we might need the help of other facilities. Again, I suggest that we have drug use, or we include drugs and drug use into our general studies curriculum, so that we will tell them what it is and make them not to use those drugs. And finally, we can encourage our youths to have clubs, students against drug abuse. Thank you.
Since time has it, Africa has managed to add itself with names such as the most populated continent, if not the most crime region or the most HIV prone country, or most HIV prone continent. My name is Atubile Tomiwa, a student of Criminology and Security Studies, 100 level, Chrisland University. Good afternoon, Excellencies, dignified ladies and gentlemen. I am here to talk about drug policy in Africa, what works. First, I would like to define policy. Policy can be defined as a statement of intent, usually implemented through protocols. And then a drug is a medicine or any substance that when taken into the body has physiological effects. Then drug policy can be defined as strategies, usually of a government, meant to control and regulate the movement of drugs in a country. We can focus the objectives of drug policy down to three objectives, which are rational use, access, and quality. In Nigeria, its maiden policy, the 1990 policy, has been ineffective because WHO, World Health Organization, held a research in 2002 and found out that 70% of drugs in Nigeria were either fake or substandard, and this was 12 years after its implementation of its maiden policy.
So we start from 16 and go to 15 and 14 and then 10 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and cut this game. You see what has happened here.
And on this note, I believe that now that we are going out the way we are going out, getting schools to take this, teachers to talk about it, policymakers and policy executors to talk about it, traditional rulers to talk about it, university teachers and school teachers to talk about it. I think we are on the way to getting it right. I believe that for us in West Africa, and that may be the next thing you have to do, Peter, since we have our here, and we have Ambassador Mkulu, we may have to see how we move beyond Nigeria to other parts of West Africa and indeed to other parts of Africa. I am sure if any time you ask Ruth to come and talk, Ruth will be more than willing and ready to talk in any of our countries in Africa on this issue, because I know it's an issue that is dear to our heart. Well, I want to thank all of you for making this a day for me as part of commemoration of my birthday. And my birthday, whichever way you look at it, is not today, it's 2 days from now. And you have made me to cut the birthday cake before the birthday. I've heard of people celebrating birthday in arrears, but not in advance. So, now the reason is this: if I die tomorrow, at what age do I die? So watch it. Don't jump the gun. You seem to be jumping the gun. Thank you very much.
I'm sure that Nigeria has to build on the confidence they bring to the young people. And they have to support those young people who experiment with drugs, encouraging them, but helping them to become full members, recognized members of the society.
policy makers in the world concerning drug policy? What do you think they should do to effect changes in the lives of the youth especially?
They have to take the control of the drugs and not let them criminalize. They have to fight against criminal organizations, but also to look that these substances are really under the control, are regulated, if they are available, that they are available in good quality and in a way that the people are not intoxicated by them.
We have come together because we have a common goal, and it's an environment where we can sit and bring up new ideas and new things that will better the whole world as regards the fight against drugs.
As a youth, what do you think is the significance of this program to the collective interest of the Nigerian youth?
The central aim, as it affects not only Nigeria, it affects the whole world. The collective interest is to transfer the burden of drug trafficking and drug problems from the security agencies to being a problem of public health. So it means that we don't begin to see it as, okay, this thing has to do with the police. We begin to see it from, okay, a doctor can treat this person, or okay, a nurse can see this person, or okay, a psychologist can help this person. Okay, this person needs love. Just like the regular way we see a child, there are not people to be stigmatized. So the youths in Nigeria need to come to that revelation. Just the same way, the way we feel about drugs now, the same way many years ago we felt about alcohol and we still feel about cigarettes. Those that will take it to still take it, but the central message to preach is love.
Well, the Center for Human Security and Dialogue is the intellectual arm of the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library. The mission of this center is to educate and propagate anything having to do with promotion of human security in the continent of Africa. And human security was taken to be broad spectrum. It is not just getting police to run after you, run around you, but anything having to do with food security, health security, environment security, health, anything that has to do with your getting secure is what we attend to.
What actually is the significance of today's program, the collective interest of Nigeria?
Yeah, the significance is that we are aware that drug abuse is detrimental to national development. And if steps are not taken by way of appropriate policies, we'll end up having a country that will be taking on the deleterious, like the harmful effects of drug abuse. And that will lead to further underdevelop the country and hamper the attainment of our vision to be the most prosperous country, the most economically viable, the most peaceful country on the continent of Africa.
So what is the advice to policymakers?
The advice to policymakers from the conclusions of this meeting is that we should decriminalize drug use and abuse. Because we have found that the criminalizing it has not helped over the last several decades. So let's try another model of decriminalizing and using that as a basis for reforming our laws, reforming our policies, so that over the next several years we'll be able to get a better system in terms of drug use, drug abuse.